I'm Michelle, and we're going to talk about how I and you can use mindfulness, compassion, and connection to find your inner calm and a little more sanity in your parenting. Hi, I'm Michelle, and today we're going to talk about summer break and the pressure to be Julie cruise director. So, first off, I'm going to talk about how I and you can use mindfulness, compassion, and connection to find your inner calm and a little more sanity in your parenting. And today we're talking about the pressure to be the cruise director for your children on their summer vacation. So, I was thinking through all the things that have been really stressful and frustrating for me facing the summer and facing summertime with my kids over the years. And one of them was definitely feeling this pressure to be Julie cruise director. And I hope that that's not offensive if your name is Julie, because I love that name, Julie. But really, it's the pressure to be like, okay, everybody, this is what we're going to do today. And, you can imagine the cruise director who's like, full of energy and happy and getting everybody to do fun things. And oh gosh, I mean, she's getting paid for that job, one. And two, oh my gosh, that is definitely what it can feel like. When we are at home with our kids in the summer, we can feel a lot of pressure to, have them have a special summer, a fun summer, to have it be summer break. It's supposed to be relaxing. We're supposed to make memories. And so we can feel a lot of pressure to one, provide that entertainment, and two, to that we might be the sole source of entertainment. Ugh. And that is overwhelming. So first, I'd like for you to think about what were my summers like? Did I have long, painfully boring summers? And that's why I feel some pressure to make my kids' summers more fun. Did I go to camps? Did I enjoy those camps? Did I hate those camps? So now I want to have a different experience for my kids. Or maybe I went to camp, but I can't, send my kids to camp. So I have to try to, make it as fun as camp was. Sometimes our own experiences with summer, and whether they were positive or negative, might be coming up when we feel pressure around entertaining our kids over the summer. So just take a moment to think about what your summers were like. And you might ask, your parents when you were little, when you don't remember what they did over the summer. You might ask, your siblings if you have trouble remembering remembering your childhood. I know that's true for a lot of folks. And just journal, oh yeah, I remember when I was 8, we did such and such, or when I was 10, we did such and such, or my summers were like this, or I looked forward to the summer. I looked forward to the summer, but then they were terrible, or I dreaded the summers because of XYZ. So just thinking about what were my summers like, and is that coming up for me at all when I think about how I want my kids' summer to be? And sometimes just noticing that connection can help us take a little bit of pressure off of like, oh my goodness, that's why I put so much pressure on myself to make my kids' summers fun or amazing. And maybe I can remove some of that pressure. Maybe I don't have to put that much pressure on myself. Because the reality is sometimes the best memories can be doing things that are pretty basic and boring. It doesn't have to be magical. Like it can be being in your pajamas at 2 in the afternoon and watching a movie together as a family, or it can be like having breakfast for lunch, or it can be, it doesn't have to be anything amazing. It can be silly. Maybe we think of them as basic things, but because they're out of the ordinary, they're memorable for our kids and they can be fun. So, thinking about this idea of feeling the pressure to be a constant source of entertainment, or feeling like maybe we were like, I don't feel like I have to be, but I do have to be because I'm at home with my kids and I have to, entertain them and I have to entertain them or they'll fight or they'll be bored and whine and complain. So sometimes it's not something to do with our past experiences, but it's more to do with things that we're trying to avoid, right? So think through and maybe journal out. These are the reasons that I feel frustration around having to be the sole source of entertainment for my kids. I feel like I have to keep them from fighting. I have to keep them entertained. Maybe I feel like I have to provide some kind of like educational experience for them that they can't just like sit like zombies in front of the TV. So I feel pressure there. And then I'd like for you to notice what are my triggers when it comes to trying to entertain my kids. Where do I feel triggered? Maybe I've worked really hard on like some fun game, and then the kids get into a fight over the game, and someone ends up turning the game over, and then I just like, wah, lose it, right? We talk about this a lot in the Yelling to Connecting course. What are my triggers when it comes to this specific situation, especially if we've put a lot of time and energy and effort in, or if there's some hook related to our past experiences as kids, then it can be very triggering for us. So just think through, maybe you've already started the summer and you've noticed like some times that you were edgy or rigid or frustrated, or maybe you did yell or lose it. And think through, what are my triggers when it comes to entertaining my kids, feeling like the sole source of entertainment, and be specific. Like, I made a game and they flipped it over, or the kids fighting and I'm afraid they're going to fight all day, or um, taking it, wanting to go to the park, and one or all of them complains and says they don't want to go. That is a big trigger for me because I love to get out of the house and go and do things. So when one of my kids like throws on the brakes and it's like, I don't want to go, that can be very triggering for me because then I can feel trapped. So write out what all of your triggers are. And then asking yourself, taking it one step farther, what makes this triggering for you? What is it about this that stirs up big emotion? For me, it was the feeling of being trapped. If I can't take my kids to the park, I'm going to be stuck at home. Or it could be they're fighting, they're going to fight all day, or they're going to be zombies in front of the TV. And my mom always talked about how, TV rots your brain or something like that. So just thinking through not only what my triggers are, but what is it that's triggering about this for me? So taking some time to journal that out. And then making a plan. I talked about this in a previous podcast, but you don't have to take it all on, especially if your kids are old enough. I like to have them write out what they like to do. So we made a list of things that are free to do in the house, things that are free to do outside of the house, like the library or the public pool, or going to the park, having a picnic, lunch. So listing out everything you can think of, use Google, use Chat GPT, write down all the free things that you can think of to do in the house and outside of the house. Then writing down things that are paid. So maybe looking at your budget and saying, like, could we do a paid thing once a week? Could we do a paid thing once a month? What is the budget for that? And, what things could we do that fall into that budget? And then asking your kids, it might be that they want to have a friend over. That's a free thing. So if you have more than one kid, you might say, okay, this week you get to have a friend over. Next week you get to have a friend over. The week after that, you get to have a friend over, and we'll rotate. Or so I like to have them tell me what they like to do. And then we look at the list together and we say, okay, like this week we're going to do this thing on Monday, this thing on Tuesday, this thing on Wednesday. If you want to be more specific, if you're staying at home, you might say in the morning, you might break your day up into like 4 blocks, like 2 blocks in the morning, 2 or 3 blocks in the afternoon. Like, this is what we're going to do. One parent said they like to have quiet time in the afternoon. So everybody goes in their room and chills out and read. They can do whatever they want in their room, but they just stay in their room quietly. So they don't have to sleep, but they just stay quietly in their room. So I love that because it's very creative, and every family is different. Every child is different. Different kids need different things. You as a parent need different things. And it doesn't all have to be on you. In some respects, it is. If you're the one that's home all day with your kids, it is on you. So I don't want to minimize that. But also, it can be helpful to feel empowered to say, okay, I'm going to have my kids help me figure out what we want to do, or I'm going to have Google help me, or I'm going to have Chat GPT help me, or I hate being alone. So I'm going to make sure I have a play date with a friend once a week or twice a week. That is a big one for me. I'd much rather do something with a friend. Or sometimes you can do like a free, well, YouTube is free, right? You can do like an art class, but it's a free, it's a YouTube drawing thing, or it's a YouTube like creating XYZ thing. Um, that you don't have to like face an empty day all by yourself. You can create a plan with someone, or with your kids, or with a partner, with a friend, or with Google, and have a plan for yourself in hopes that it feels a little bit less overwhelming. And then I always like to use, I'm going to have this every week, is the RAIN practice. So I learned this from Tara Brach. It's RAIN. The R stands for recognize. Recognizing, when I think about being, the cruise director and feeling the pressure of entertaining my kids, I feel pressure, I feel overwhelmed, I feel trapped, I feel stressed, I feel frustrated, whatever it might be. So R is recognize. And you can use this, in moments that you feel overwhelmed, frustrated, upset, right? That's when you can use the RAIN practice. It's helpful to do it, any time of day. That's the way I like to do it. And also, if you want to use it like at night before you go to bed, that way you have practiced it when you're kind of okay and calm, and it's easier to remember to do it when you're not okay and calm. So let's come back. R is recognize. A is allow. So allow the emotions to be there. So oftentimes when we feel difficult emotions, we want to push them away. We don't want to feel them. Of course, we might judge ourselves for them. Like, I shouldn't be stressed. Other parents enjoy the summer. Why can't I? Or I shouldn't be frustrated with my kids. They're just kids, and I should be able to enjoy them and have a nice, relaxing summer with them. So oftentimes we judge ourselves for whatever emotion we're having. And the thing is, we can't choose our emotions. They just are. And if we allow them to be there, they don't have the ability to take as much hold on us. They can kind of move through, like passing through like the weather. This is a rainy day. Okay. It's a rainy hour. It's going to come. It's going to go. It's not going to last forever. So allow, and I can't remember if I already said this. Jeff Warren likes to say, welcome to the party. I love this phrase, welcome to the party, anger and frustration. The I is interconnected. Interconnected is reminding ourselves that we're not alone. Reminding ourselves that there's other parents that are going through this exact same frustrating moment or frustrating situation that we are going through right now. There's probably other parents on your street, in your neighborhood, in your state, in the country, in the world, who are facing the same things. Like, you are truly not alone in your experience, in your feelings, in your emotions, in your reaction to those. Like, you're not alone in any of it. I've probably felt many of the same things you're feeling. And if it's not been me, it's someone else. And the N is, what do I need? Just thinking about your own personality. Like, maybe you are a homebody and you love being at home. So the idea of like going a million places over the summer sounds terrible. And maybe you have a kid who's like, where are we going? What are we doing? What's happening? And you're like, oh, okay. So make sure that you give yourself, like, you know what? Every other day we're going to do something, or we're only going to do something once a week, or we're only going to do something in the afternoon, but in the morning we're going to stay home because it's okay to meet your own needs as well as your kids' needs. Or maybe it's the reverse where you're like me and you're like, want to go, 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 but your kid wants to stay home and then they don't want to go and do things. So it's okay to say, you know what? I know you like to stay home. That's awesome. But mommy likes to get out of the house. So in the mornings we're going to stay home, but in the afternoon we're going to go somewhere or whatever it is that you need. The in also might be more specific, like reminding yourself, I'm a good parent. I'm doing the best I can. It might be reminding yourself that this won't last forever, like the weather analogy. It might be sending your partner a, threat, like a venting of everything that's happening and why you're frustrated, letting them know just venting, don't need anything, don't worry, but this is what's happening. Or you might vent to a friend, or you might also want to set up a coffee date with a friend because just knowing that that's coming is like, okay, or a night out with friends when if you have someone else that can come over and tag in so that you can go out and do something else. So thinking about what you need that might take the edge off of the pressure to be the entertainer for the summer. Thank you so much for listening. Be well. Hey, before you go, I have a free gift for you. It's the guided audio pause and regroup, also known as the rage break. It's a free guided audio pause for when you're about to lose it or have just lost it with your kids and you need a moment to regroup. And for me, I needed more than just deep breaths. I needed, my body would be filled with rage and anger. So in the guided audio, I walk you through moving your body through that rage, anger, frustration in a healthy, positive, productive way. I help you shift your thoughts from negative, harsh, upsetting thoughts to ones that are more productive. And then shifting into compassion and what do you need to help regroup. So I created this because it's what I needed when I was struggling with anger and losing my patience in my parenting. So I'd love for you to check it out and let me know how it is helpful for you. A reminder, this content is intended for educational purposes only and should not be used as a replacement for private psychotherapy services. Compassionate Heart Mindful Life does not provide psychotherapy services in any capacity. I am a therapist, but I'm not your therapist, and this is not therapy and should not be a substitute for mental health treatment. If you need mental health treatment, please find a qualified professional in your area. Thanks again for listening. Be well.